Greetings to you all. At the outset, let me thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful chance for associating with this program. The title of my presentation is The New Way of Developing Curriculum. I wish to give you some insights about how we can develop a proper curriculum which is based entirely on the new I theory. Of course, I theory is a new theory proposed by Swami Isa. You know that education is a process of removing ignorance from mind. Ignorance is the cause of sorrow, according to Swami Isa, who is the proposer of I theory that I mentioned earlier. This is a contemporary vision that doesn't have conflicting interest with science. Education is not just providing information, it is filling the person with positive energy. Negative energy is the cause of ignorance. Once the mind is filled with positive energy, good thoughts, better understanding, clarity in perception, and interest for collecting information will come without force or compulsion. For sustained existence on earth, we need a balanced way of energy management. We must realize the harmful effects of negative energy and know how to remove it without damaging the environment. Learning how to limit or reduce the flow of negative energy is the real education. All Vedic scriptures, all laws of dharma, all doctrines or practices of the society, all laws established by different communities can be viewed as the rules for removing negative energy. This is the new way of learning things and perhaps the new and path-breaking revelation in education. Based on I theory and drawing analogies from science, the teaching learning process can be redefined. The following text is an attempt to illustrate it and provide some tips for curriculum and content management. The I theory and energy. Energy is not only creating matter in the universe, but also is responsible for the existence of space and time. Story of creation of the universe goes down to the epoch of Big Bang, which according to the scientists is the moment of creation. At this fine moment, space, time, and matter were created from energy, which was infinitely large and the source of which was unknown. Who pulled the string so that a sudden burst of energy appeared and created everything? All ancient mythologies and epics speculated about it. All poets described its beauty in charming language. All scientists tried to propose beautiful mathematical logic of its structure. Till this moment, no human being who existed on this planet succeeded in explaining a bit of it with convincing truth. One thing is clear, matter and space-time were created together. Matter exists in space-time and space-time is an attribute of matter. Conversely, if matter ceases to exist, immediately space-time fabric disappears. The I theory clarifies the very pertinent point regarding the existence of matter and space-time. It says, once matter vibrates, time and space also come into existence. Time is a very complicated or delicate entity. Nobody knows its origin and where does it go. Theoretically, we assume that it started clicking from the moment of creation and flows in the direction of increasing entropy of this universe. Entropy is perhaps a new term here, so I should explain it a bit. Entropy is a measure of deviation from ordering. All ordered structures have least energy. If we add energy to any system, it tries to kill its own order. It is not a difficult concept, but a measurable physical parameter, similar to length or temperature. All substances eliminate totally its entropy when they reside in a level of absolute zero. Entropy increases thereafter if you supply energy or heat the system. Ever since the moment of creation, the universe is adding energy, which is converted into matter and radiation. This situation perhaps looks awkward in some sense, and it destabilizes the order of this universe. Entropy is continually increasing. There is no reason to think that entropy or disorder in the universe will decline in future. It is therefore reasonable to connect the positive direction of time increase by the increasing direction of entropy. Theory of relativity predicts the invariable relationship between time and space. Time, according to Einstein, forms the fourth arm in geometry. Together with the three dimensions of space-time, time is time is regarded as the fourth law. Four-dimensional space-time geometry is a mathematical subject, and it is in fact a beautiful concept. Theoreticians try to explain everything in the universe in the four-dimensional space-time fabric. The I-theory, however, connects space and time by means of two fundamental attributes: the vibration of the I particle. Frequency and wavelength are the two measurable parameters when a system or particle executes vibration. Frequency is the number of vibrations in unit time, and wavelength is the distance covered by the wave that is emitted from the vibrating body, or the distance traveled by a particle when it completes one full cycle of vibration. Frequency of vibration is a measure of time, and wavelength is a measure of distance. The link suggested by I-theory to connect space-time with vibration seems reasonable. The most remarkable idea is perhaps its connection with energy. Modern theory of science has two realms, or rather probes, to understand nature. One works at the elementary particles field, and the other works with very large scales. Both are fundamental theories about how things behave in this universe. The quantum theory, which works only for small particles, has a definition for energy, which relates energy with frequency, whereas relativity theory, proposed almost at the same time when quantum theory was emerged, relates energy with mass. Both are intrinsically valid statements, but the theoretical link between the two are still unresolved puzzle. Quantum theory, proposed in 1900 by Max Planck, defines the energy of a system in some multiples of frequency of vibration. It was indeed a revolutionary statement, and Max Planck made it out of its clear intuition. The radiation law was indeed a discovery. Physical constant appeared in the relationship of Max Planck, apart from energy and frequency, is an elementary constant, which is called the quantum of action according to Planck. The constant, that is Planck constant, since then holds a very important place in physics as well as in modern science. And it is one among the most important constants which defines the nature of the universe. The Planck equation is perhaps the most powerful equation describing energy with frequency. The proponents of I theory also uses the same relationship between energy and frequency. Major difference is the introduction of an I particle, which is a new concept, rather difficult to conceive on the basis of existing physical theory. There are indeed many contradictory statements which are beyond the scope of the current discussion. Classification of matter into three basic forms, red, white, and dark, is the most important concept introduced in the I theory. It has nothing in common with modern science, which classifies matter into two forms only: the real matter and the virtual or dark matter. A subdivision of ordinary matter into positive matter and negative matter or antimatter is experimentally validated classification. Matter and antimatter, as well as dark matter, are the three forms of matter, but I theory speaks differently. In universe, the contents of matter and antimatter are almost identical, with a slight dominance of matter. However, the total share is almost 4% only, and the remaining is dark matter or virtual matter. Quantum physicists who proposed the idea of antimatter also suggested that matter and antimatter annihilate when they interact each other, and the total mass will be converted into energy. According to Einstein's relation, energy can be converted into mass and vice versa. The reverse mechanism is also possible. That means the process of creation of matter from energy. That process is called pair production, that is creating matter along with antimatter. These are all experimentally observed phenomena. Dark matter has no physical interaction with ordinary matter. Its structure and properties are still puzzling problems in the smallest in science. However, the eye theory suggested that the eye particle consists of three different forms in differing proportions. Even in the smallest form, half of the particle is made of white material, and the remaining is made from red and dark matter. The red matter is interlaced between white and dark. Quark models for subatomic theories in particle physics may have some resemblance with eye particle structure, but correlations are difficult at this moment. Vibrations of matter forms transfer of energy from one realm to the other. Eye theory suggests that the interlaced red particle transfers energy to white and dark regions. In the beginning, everything was silent and there was no transfer of energy. When the universe became active, the transfer of energy occurred, and vice versa. Every small murmur that occurs in the universe is, of course, a signature of the energy transfer. The energy transfer that takes place in human brain is indeed the cause of information storage and retrieval. We call it as information as the data information, and or we call it as information or data, and we measure its strength in terms of small units. There exists a fundamental unit for information, which is in fact the basis of knowledge, according to Swami Isa. Knowledge of this fundamental aspect is education. This is the simple term used by Swami Isa in his eye theory. Then, how we can develop a proper curriculum on the basis of these concepts or these notions? That is really critical thing. The curriculum content development and the eye theory. Imparting knowledge is a process of education, as you know. Curriculum, of course, defines the spread and depth of the content to be delivered in the classroom by the teacher. Modern system of education has defined clear and definite ways for developing curriculum. Also, different practical ways are available for teaching. The imparted information is stored in the brain and kept for appropriate use. The structure of human brain and its functions are known today. Information is stored in human brain by the nerve cells, which is a highly complicated process, and it is irreproducible in fact. Electronic storage devices use alternate techniques for information handling. Proper understanding of information storage in human brain is useful when we develop the course of curriculum. How the information that the teacher is delivering the student is stored or is absorbed in the brain, is stored in the brain, and it is retrieved when it is useful. That is very important. In this respect, the I theory provides a better way, which is perhaps highly useful in different systems as well as in different communities. Any idea that can stimulate the positive energy particles in the brain can be as easily assimilated. On the other hand, any stimulants of negative energy particles will totally destroy the information storage system of the brain. So therefore, we should eliminate the negative energy parts that are appearing in the curriculum. So while developing a curriculum, one should be very careful about which part stimulates the negative energy section of our brain and which part stimulates the positive energy part of the brain. So therefore, one can identify positive and negative stimuli in the curriculum and adopt a better strategy for minimum negative energy stimulation part in the curriculum. This will help, of course, the learners for easy grasping the subject and for finding its better application. Whether the subject is humanities, whether the subject is pure mathematics, or whether the subject is science, no matter, we should separate which part of the curriculum is good for stimulating the positive energy part of the brain. Then introduce that part strongly in the content and try to give that more emphasis in the curriculum. The advantage of this method is that it can be implemented in any stage and at all levels of education. That means from the beginning level to the higher education. And also it can be adopted in any community, whether it is in South Asia, whether it is in Europe, whether it is in US, no matter. The same thing appears everywhere. Since all the parameters like frequency, energy, wavelength are all real and measurable, there can be some ways for practice parameterizing the strength of this curriculum. How we can understand the positive energy part in the curriculum, how we can understand the negative energy part in the curriculum, and use a proper technique for giving more emphasis or more importance to the positive energy part. That is, of course, a technical problem. At this level, nobody, I think, have gone into that matter. Perhaps technologies, education is sitting together can evolve a technique or evolve a process by which we can identify this, because as I mentioned, all these parameters which can measure the negative energy, frequency, wavelength, etc., etc., measurable things are, as well as physical entity. So this is my understanding about the I theory and how we can implement, you can use it in the proper curriculum management. Therefore, let me conclude. The I theory is randomly reviewed here, and it is concluded that some ideas of I theory are useful in improving the teaching learning process. The technique is universal and can be applied at all levels of education. With this, let me wind up this discussion. I am very happy if you come with suggestions, and I think this will give you some understanding, or this will stimulate, of course, you in developing or in involving more and more into this subject. Thank you.